There were a number of people in the post-war years who learned in the Depression how to move the country, and Jim Rouse was absolutely one of those people.
He was approached by these women in a church group. But I think what a lot of people don't know about that story about Jubilee is that he did not respond positively to them at first. He went home having said no to them and had this moment of shock in the middle of the night where he realized, I'm the problem. Their mission is correct.
For him, the enterprise was like what he wanted to do his entire life. He just breathed and dreamed and lived. There wasn't a waking moment, or probably a sleeping moment, where he wasn't thinking about enterprise.
When I talked to Jim Rouse, he had wonderful ideas, great dreams, but at the beginning there was more will than wallet.
I heard him explain how he was going to change the whole country and make all housing affordable. I said, well, how are we going to finance this affordable housing? Because, the construction costs are way too much. And Jim said, we're going to invent the ways that we finance low-income housing. I said, how crazy is this? And we did. And we somehow came up with a low-income housing tax credit. I remember us going to Fannie Mae and saying, what about doing native tribe areas?
At that time, no other intermediary was working in Indian country. And this program focused on home repairs, but not only that, just like outreach within tribal leaders, engagement, and basically figuring out their path into Indian country.
For Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, we put together a $100 million program. And when Clinton went out as the first sitting president to visit all of the tribal chiefs, it was absolutely extraordinary to see the progress we had made.
Jim really wanted to create home ownership opportunities for people. Well, it's very expensive to do home ownership. And so we were able to pivot, creating more rental housing. And that was really significant to our success.
He wasn't just interested in building houses. He wanted to uplift the entire community. And that's so vitally important and very different than many developers.
We're still every day asking this question: how do we make community development more tangible, more visceral, and more meaningful?
When Katrina hit, Enterprise was not involved down there. But Doris Koo and Michelle Wetton ended up going down to the Gulf.
Doris crowded in resources right away. A number of folks from the Enterprise team went down and stayed on the ground for a very long time.
We did some listening session with the residents, and I was amazed that just about everyone I talked to said they wanted to go home. And immediately I thought about the best of Enterprise and what we can bring to bear. And then I knew with destruction at that scale, we have to get help from the federal government. So our policy team got to work, and we learned so much in the Katrina. We have to motivate people to prepare now and not wait for disaster to hit them. We have to understand that being green and being affordable can be one and the same. That's what the Green Communities program is all about.
We had an important set of conversations with one of the leading environmental agencies in the country. We were able to really make great gains assimilating the best of their work with the best of our work.
Enterprise has been able to build the tools, they've brought forward the experts and the change makers, and they've also coupled all of this with the advocacy at the federal, state, and local levels to bring that vision to a reality.
Preservation Next was born out of work that was already happening. We are industry leaders on preservation, on tenant protections, and being able to bring those pieces together under the Preservation Next umbrella is just a way for us to transform communities.
The thing that I'm most proud about our work today is our Equitable Path Forward initiative. In communities, particularly communities that we defined as distressed, but are loved by people who live there, Equitable Path Forward is designed to support those kinds of organizations and developers to keep them at the table so that the community that they want to build and that they want to create is able to happen.
Today we talk a lot about listening to people with lived experience. And I think Enterprise has done a fabulous job of listening to those communities, going back to the days of Jubilee housing. I think that's what we learned from the beginning. And Jim Rouse listened very carefully.
If Jim were alive today, he would be over the moon. He would be thrilled at what Enterprise has been able to accomplish.
We've been learning at Enterprise for the past 40 years of what it takes to tackle the affordable housing crisis. We listen to community partners and residents. We work with funders. We work with policymakers at the federal, state, and local level to ensure that families have housing they can afford.
Enterprise has been the standard, and unshakingly so, an inspirational exemplar.
I have no question, but Enterprise will be the leader 40 years from now.
We've come a long way in 40 years, but we know there's still a long way to go. And we won't rest until a good home is possible for the millions of families without one.